this the last call. What? I rode in on a Ruby yacht, that's an Arca. Bones. Peace to DJ Nobody. Peace to the Ruby yacht. What they say? They said, Godspeed with that black on. We guess I'll keep rapping till they toe tag me. They said, Godspeed with that black on. We guess I'll keep rapping till they toe tag me. They said, Godspeed with that black on. We guess I'll keep rapping till they toe tag me. They said, Godspeed, you black emperor. They said, Godspeed, you black emperor. My transmissions began when Diamond said to Cole, why so yielding? A journey. The valley of quest. The valley of love. The valley of understanding. The valley of independence. The valley of unity. The valley of astonishment. The valley of deprivation. Quest. You leave home. The important part is you leave home. Left home in search of where the orchid grows. Found a lotus pond in Echo Park and got confused. Met an Aristotelian and got depressing about his awkward views. Why you so quick to divide? So hasty devise and cut in two. Knowing it's impolite to tarry, I went about my way. And I don't like scary niggas, so I ain't been around the way. Picking spinach out my teeth from the flooring. Hold his notebook like an advanced new camera. The panorama makes me some kind of past master. Gawking at the pastor as I pen this, it hails the howitzer in the garden of my mind. It isn't always so reliable. Earthworm Nimrod preaching about survival and the orchestral nature of chaos. Lurking in the numbers, burping penumbra. How gracefully he fidgets with the ephemeral. A peon wrote this with the stalk of a peony and a collar of primitive thud, posing by a bust of Pericles eating fudge. Sun officiating, Dagooby fashion, seen his hands fastened round the ruby hilt to that old rusty scimitar. Speaking time-tested coda, who the other rhythm wizards are. God bless the soul of whoever you think you are. God bless the soul of whoever you think you are. God bless the soul of whoever you thought you was. Cause it might not be no next time. Cause it might not be no next time.
1, 2, in the place to do. Ha! Here we go. I regret to inform you of your imminent demise. Men, put your phones down, look your women in the eyes. Understand, let go your old plans. Children hold hands. Your new role demands that if you gotta lick a shot, then aim for 6 o'clock. At least with a 22, when it jumps, it hits the spot. An idiot could do it. Nice life. Be ashamed if something happened to it.
What?
This solves nothing.
Nothing. True. On the master plan.
Cool. Let's see. Do something extreme. I'm so bored. This music's ass. Why don't you bring Alex in here? So much more. That's funny. So I'm pretty much just gonna watch the video. I think I'm gonna watch the video all the way through. And if there's anything I want to point out about like a specific clip or like how I did something, then I'll do that. But in any case, what What's up? My name is Aaron. I've been editing for, I'm like 21 now. I've been editing like on and off for like 5 years. I took film for 3 years back in high school, and then after that, I like worked on a movie with a friend. Eventually got a camera of my own, and that's what like spawned these monthly edits. So in the monthly edits, what I tried doing is just like taking the clips that I got from the month, either like used or unused, and just putting them together in like a cool edit with like a good song. And initially it was like something I did because I needed like a project to work on. Like I didn't have any ideas, so I just like kind of threw something together. And then eventually it turned to like, well, how much can I improve each month? And I mean, here we are a full year later. It's really sick seeing where I am now compared to where I was back then, because like back then I was like this I was pretty depressed, not gonna front, and I was like had major anxiety, and I think one thing that helped out a lot with that was being able to express myself through the camera, through my edits, and like um, just being able to like release all that. And yeah, so I'm I'm really happy to be here a year later in a way better mood, in like a way better mindset, and having a better skill set and approach when it comes to these things. I'm glad I'm able to keep producing content like this and have friends that support me, and as well as like family that supports me. So if you're watching this, thank you. And yeah, here we go.
Dynamite. Coming up at you like Ralph Kane. Since this ain't no honeymoon, I'm here to stay. And coming at you, baby, we can't miss. A new tag team in town. Nigga, whoop that is. Thing to me, and ain't because we're so funkified. We make it move from side to side. Well, it's the TH, the ETT, Nibra, and JD. That big baby. So lay back and listen as I catch up on my pip and then bring this to it just like Ashford and tip.
So the first thing I kind of want to go over in this is how much went down in this first little song section, and two things when it came to these songs. So the first track I ended up finding after like hearing it in a mix a really long time ago, and I didn't know, but it was by this guy who is known as now as Richard, but used to go by Jalen Tuna back then. I didn't know that it was his track until I found a discography by him, and it was like all his mixtapes that he released, two that I hadn't heard before. But that song was on there, and that was really sick. And then the second song was one that I remember finding it one day and being in my room and like yelling so loud that my mom was just got like she got pissed at me. But I was so excited that I found it, because it literally was like a year and a half of just like re-listening to a mix over and over, like trying to figure something about it. But again, it was by a guy named by that guy Jalen Tuna. So it was like you would never think that the song that it is the one that would be in, because the first part is way different than the second part. So yeah, I was super stoked about that. But these clips are really tight because it kind of showed a lot of what I do in my life in like a very short time period. I think it was like 30 seconds, but like there's every little piece has like a big aspect of like what goes on in my life. So this one here, Briar, this is when we went to play friendlies at Frank's house. We were playing Smash outside, and Briar showed up. And I remember Mason was over here trying on Frank's snowshoes because he didn't go snowboarding. Shout out to Mason Rodriguez, the wave. But yeah, with this clip, I just thought it was really funny because like I think I was just recording, and Briar just happened to me look at the camera, so I just held it for super long. And then I don't know how many of you caught this, but Frank He looks directly at the camera, so that's like a little tidbit right there. This is like the cutest scarf ever that you could put on a dog. I don't know. If you guys know Hefe, he's just like the dumbest dog, but he's like the cutest and most lovable thing ever. So, and for some reason doesn't like being recorded. So when he saw me, he was looking up at me, but not at the camera. And then he looks at the camera, and he's like, oh, and then he turns away. Um, this was in San Luis Obispo, over by, I think, Madonna Hill. It was like on the opposite end, and we like climbed over here, and I don't know why, maybe I just didn't have a good understanding of the camera, but I wish this didn't come out so grainy and pixelated because I don't know, it just the way the trees were growing were just it looked like it was just like concaving like a wave. It was the coolest thing, and I tried my best to capture it, but unfortunately like it just didn't come out super good quality wise, but overall like this is still like a holy shit moment. Plus like everything was really green. It just started raining. That was a good day. I remember figuring out how to do burst on my camera when we were at Lake Tahoe, and Eric was gonna do a snow angel, and I put it on there, and I remember having those pictures, but I like never knew what I was gonna do with it until I was editing this, and I was just like, oh shit, like I need to throw that in there because that little clicking part is so good. This little thing in the air is a snowball that I think Ken or Jeff or vice versa were throwing at each other, so that was pretty cool. That was, I think, okay. Funny backstory about this. So you see this in Josh's hand. This is like a couple days after Christmas, and Josh had just bought these pants for himself. We were gonna go out above the Santa Maria riverbed in those mountains that when they're like hella green, and Jeff was gonna fly his drone. These guys had never jumped over a barbed wire fence, which I mean a lot of people haven't before, but Josh was trying to jump over it, and in the process he ripped half his pants. So you can't really tell, but literally like half his pant leg is gone, and that's what he's carrying in his hand. So it's pretty funny, and it's just tight how like green that clip was as well. This is Austin's cat. Austin was in the clip earlier. But this is his cat Merlin. I don't know how he is now, but when he was a little baby, he was just like the most lovable thing ever. So that was really tight. I don't know what Nick was doing there. Jeff, that was when we were on our way to Lake Tahoe, and then that was my cat as well. Steve, that was at shout out McDog, the one true TO of Santa Maria. I mean, we have TOs now, but he was like the one who like really popped it off. Um, here's me. I remember I wanted to get Nick's reaction of him opening the door, and I'm pretty sure I got this for the vlog I made or something. But I got his reaction. This will remain like one of the most unintentional fire shots I've ever gotten, just because like I think I don't know if the sun was out, but for some reason this tree was lit really well, and in the background everything was just like perfectly exposed, especially with Erica's like the color of her jacket and like the color of this beanie that she's wearing. It just it just came out so good, and it's not something that I tried, but it was like one of those like happy accidents that ended up being really cool. That's literally just eggs that I threw in because I think I was kind of running short on clips, but I wanted to use both songs. This was at a warehouse rave in Slow. That was really tight. I remember there was a mirror on the wall because I think this is like a dance studio. And I remember the visuals going on the wall, and I was just like, oh shit, like I think I could get something really cool here. Alright, so about the fucking twist turns and stuff like that, I think I had just figured out what Beziering your keyframes did. So if you don't know what keyframes are, pretty much like if you want something to move from here to here, you put a keyframe right here on the original position, and then you put a keyframe at right here, and then you move like where you want the image to go. So in that time frame, like it will scale like this from point A to point B. Now that's just one stagnant motion. But if you bezier your keyframes, what it allows you to do is change the velocity and the pace of how fast that is moving over. So you can make it go like an angle like this, so it goes over here and then down, or you can like wish-wash it so it goes back and forth. Bezier, Beziering your keyframes gets you a lot more control when it like you're trying to do something, and it allows it to give. It also allows you to like give realism to your motion rather than just like a straight kind of robotic arm scaling upwards. So when I think I did one part of this unintentionally, and then after I was like, holy shit, how do I do that? And then I had to like, I pretty much had to figure something out. And then I remember I used to edit on my mom's computer without headphones, and she was doing homework, and I was editing this part. And since I was trying to get it to the like match the song, and it's like this like it's that wah 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 like my mom got so mad at me for for just going over that clip over and over and over, and I was just like, oh shit, and then I had to go get headphones and finish the rest of it, but I was just like so adamant about making it look good. So yeah.
Baby, we came in a new tag team in 10. Nigga, whoop that is. Thing to me and ain't because we're so funkified. We make it move from side to side.
So that glitch effect right there, I remember at the time I was like, oh, I need to get better editing. Like I kind of understand, like I understand the basics, but I need to get better overall. So I started looking up like tutorials on YouTube, and I found like glitch ones. I found like how to make like the camera shake as if like an earthquake is happening, and like I like slowly realized I was like, okay, I pretty much understand how to use this program, and really only advanced techniques are in After Effects. So that kind of led me towards After Effects. But yeah, that glitch effect is like it's pretty simple when you break it down, and like I remember reusing it over like kind of a lot, but then I just didn't want to keep it like a mainstay. So yeah. Nick actually looks super young in this right here. Every time I watch this video, I just look at Nick and he just looks like so much younger. But this is really cool.
That big baby. So lay back and listen as I catch up on my pip and then bring this to it just like Ashford and
I'm pretty sure that last part didn't even sync up with the track, but whatever. Let's see. All right, and the thing with these titles, I'm pretty sure once I'm done with this, I'm gonna like go through the titles and actually name them like month one, month two. Like I for some reason I just like tried rolling with like this like fucking edgy way of titling it, and eventually just got to the point where I would just Google search the number, and then I would like look at the Wikipedia of the number to see references to it, and that's why like you have one like World Tree Ysidro. I don't even know how to fucking pronounce that, but that's pretty much just me going to Google, and it's like some fucking Viking folklore about the number 9. So there's really nothing significant about them. It's just me trying to be fucking cool, I guess. Uh, a lot of what I felt or what I was like feeling at the time had to do with the descriptions, and later on you'll kind of see me losing motivation on the task at hand. And looking back, I don't know why I was particularly losing motivation. Maybe as I go through it, I'll like remember. But yeah, some of what I say is already in the description. So if you go back and you read it, then it's like kind of evident as to what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm gonna watch this all the way through and then go back and then go over the clips.
My name is Peaches, and I'm the best. All the DJs want to feel my breath. Feel my breath. Feel my breath. Feel my breath. And I'm the best. Feel my breath. Feel my breath. DJs want to feel my breath. Feel my breath. Feel my breath. Feel my breath. And I'm the best. Feel my breath. Feel my breath. DJs want to feel my breath. Feel my
So there's that glitch effect again. One sec, let me open up FB, see who's. Cool. All right. So let's see. This I'm pretty sure this is literally Frank strumming a guitar for like 3 seconds, and I just like I like played it over and over to get that start, and then I tried like my best to match it up with that as well. It might. All right. Let's see. And then this is this intro or this like text is like me trying to. It's literally me trying to do like motion graphics with it's me trying to do motion graphics with like the tools in Premiere, which is like it's pretty much impossible to do. Like you just can't. It doesn't look as clean. You don't really have as many options, and like plus I didn't really. I don't know. It came out all right, but when I tried doing it, I just like rolled with it rather than like making it how I actually want it. So let's see.
My name is Jesus, and I'm the best. All the DJs want to feel my breath. Feel my breath. Feel my breath. Feel my breath. And I'm the best.
So like in the description, you'll see me say that like the first 20 seconds is like my favorite shit ever, and that like it like flowed super well, and that I just really enjoyed it. But looking back now, I'm just like that was all good. And then right here, it's like, yeah, I'm matching the hi-hats, but it's not following the beat anymore. It's not following the boom. Like it's just like this fucking stale. It's not, there's no movement, no motion. Like what I tried doing now, looking back at it, is like I try to like make sure that the camera is never steady or like still. Like yeah, I want like a steady shot, and for you like the thing in focus or the thing that you're supposed to pay attention to like I don't want your focus to divert from that, but I still want like slight and subtle motion so it doesn't just look like this flat image. So with this like back then, yeah, it may have been like my favorite, but now it's definitely not. Cause right there it was just I don't know, you just saw a worm moving with like this really flat image. This right here is really funny. I happen to catch this. This is Ty in like a triple XL fucking I think Adidas or Nike tracksuit, and he's like fighting with his arms that aren't in there. He's just like swaying the sleeves against Greg, and I happen to get that, and then that also matched up. I don't think I intentionally did that, but it happened to go with the beat, and I was just like, fuck yeah, that shit's fire. Shout out Gianni. Since this is, oh yeah, he's gonna be 11 next month, which is tight. I remember I went and I did a video for his birthday. So I really like this right here because I don't know if how many of you guys have done film before, but in film, or one of the like basic techniques that you learn is like cutting on the action, and what that pretty much means, like let's say I'm handing this to another guy, and like on the frame of me giving it to him and him taking it away, you cut to another angle, and pretty much that allows it to be like a clean. Uh, it just makes for like a seamless transition, so it doesn't look like you're changing angles. Like the viewer is following the action that's happening, and when you cut during the action and at like a proper moment, it just doesn't look like it doesn't look like they changed or the camera angle changed at all. So with this, I got two different angles, not intending on doing this later on, but when I was editing, I realized I could. So if I go back like right here, so here's Frank. Let's see. Here's Frank receiving it, right? And on the frame that he gets it, I cut to the shadow shot. And if you can see it, there's like him in the shadow just previously, right there, he's receiving it. And then on the next frame, still receiving it. So it's just like, I guess like a little film technique I threw in there, but I unintentionally shot it that way. So I don't know, that's really cool to me. This is when I was fucking making creme brulee like 3 times a week because I wanted to learn how to make it. And eventually, like, I brought the dish over to Erica's house or to Jeff's house, and I didn't take it back immediately, so it got washed and used as their dog's food bowl, and then it eventually broke, so I never got to make creme brulee again after that. I probably should. I told myself I would, but whatever. So that last clip was me not having any more clips to put in and just stringing out something as long as I can. Because there's no reason why that should have been like a 12-second clip. This right here is really tight. I'm glad I did it. It's the same kind of concept with cutting on the action. Because as long as the person does the same motion and you don't move your camera shot or frame, you can just pretty much cut whenever you want. So if Ty changed his outfit, did the same motion, and we never changed our camera position, then like we could just continually cut whenever we wanted. And this is actually like a little weekly video that Nick shot for Tyrell, and it ended up coming out really cool. That was like the first project me and Nick collaborated on. And the one thing I am bummed about this ending clip is that like that was like clean, right? And then that was clean as well. It's following the beat on the boonch, boonch, but for some reason on this second to last clap, I didn't change his outfits again, which would have made it like a lot cleaner and a lot cooler. But I don't know, for some reason I just didn't. And then yeah, the glitch effect. So that was month 2. By this point, I'm just like I was feeling pretty good about like this kind of stuff. So this next one is actually like my least favorite, and not because like the clips are bad, but just because I like was totally lazy with the edit. And I'll point it out later on, but like I just didn't throw in another clip when I should have, and for that reason it just like I don't know. I would consider it lazy. That, and I didn't really try anything new with effects this one. Like I just did like the same kind of rotations, and like I tried going with the beat of the song, and with this one it's pretty much cutting each clip frame by frame and throwing an effect. But I don't know. It's still like it's good overall. Like it has its highs, but this is definitely like my least favorite edit I did out of all 12 months. Alright, so let's go back. So this right here will like I fucking love this sequence. This is like the same thing with the duck clip in the last one. I was just trying to get time lapses a lot. And I saw these jellyfish. I was like, this is a perfect opportunity. Like these jellyfish move slow as fuck. If I just put the camera here for 5 minutes and then like speed it up later on, it'll look super fire. So I just like that is just like dude, it's so cool to me. I wish like I could live in that sequence and just like rewatch that like over and over because it's that cool. But if I were to keep doing that, it wouldn't be so cool. So I don't know. I'm really happy with that. This is really cool. This is we were in Vegas for my dad's birthday, and these lights were just kind of going on the floor, and I don't know, I guess made it work by cutting. Since I was on a tripod, I was able to cut and move it as much as I can. This is one of the clips that like I'm glad stayed really flat and stagnant, just because you could follow what's going on. If there was like any like subtle motion, I feel like it wouldn't be. I don't know. You couldn't really like follow that I was going with the music. But yeah, I just cut it with the beat of the music to different parts of the light showing on the ground. This pisses me off. This is literally like so lazy. This is like this is 3 rocks and water moving back into the ocean, but you can't tell that it's moving back into the ocean. So it just doesn't. It just looks like three rocks with nothing going on, and me just fucking flipping it to the beat. So I don't know. I probably shouldn't have put this in there, but yeah. It really makes me mad how like this right here just stayed still when the song is going so ham for like even just half a second or a second. Cause like I don't know, I think it just disrupts the flow of what's going on. Cause like before it, you have like this really like I don't know. You just have this really aggressive kind of just like oh, holy shit, a lot's happening right now, and then it just stops for like 2 seconds and it's kind of kills it. And then same thing right here, like yeah, there are bubbles, but like what's going on that's making it go all ham? And what it really is just me adding color noise to it and then not having color noise every other frame. So on the timeline it looks really good, but on YouTube it doesn't look good, and the video doesn't look good. I don't like this, and I should have instead of keeping it in, I should have done something different. This right here is actually really tight. I really like this because this guy is just like I don't know. He's getting a light show from Ryan McCashin. If you ever got a light show from Ryan McCashin, like that dude knows what he's doing, and it's pretty sick. This guy was definitely on drugs. I was at the Datsik concert working, and I happened to be able to bring my camera in, and like I just caught him enamored by this light show, and like the part where it starts spinning, and then it goes back to him. It's just I can imagine it's like probably how he's feeling in the moment, like. And then it just goes back. Oh, dude, I think that's so fucking cool. But yeah, even his eyes are just like, yeah. But this right here, this next clip is like what pissed me off so much about the whole thing because I literally didn't do anything to add to this like semi build-up except continue the clip because I didn't want to add anything else and I just wanted to finish the edit, which is total laziness. Like, this right here is pretty fire. I don't know if you could tell what's going on, but there's a mirror. Can't even tell where it ends, but it's like there's a mirror right here, and this is hanging down from the other side of this. So this is happening over on the opposite end, and it just happens to be swinging by. So kind of like if you're paying attention to that, you could tell that stuff isn't really normal. But if you're just looking at this image right here, it's like, oh yeah, like that's just him recording half of a clothes rack or clothes hanger. What is that called? Oh, whatever. But yeah, really like this shot. And this is like, I mean, what kind of ender is that? It's just fucking disco ball spinning. I don't like that edit. Let's see. So this right here, this was the first. Okay, so I'm gonna preface this with anime editors are fucking sick. And besides being like really edgy and sometimes like really depressed and like emotional, like they can get down in After Effects in Sony Vegas Pro. I don't know if any of them use Premiere, but like they definitely inspired me a lot during these edits because I'd watch their shit and try to like I guess replicate it, but I would pull inspiration from it. And one of the things that I did pull from it is like what they call pumps or scaling. And what that means is like let's say you have a clip and you want to bounce to the next one or you want to like show like give some like flair into the next one, what you do is like scale inward towards like the center of the frame, and then the next frame scale outwards from where you left off on, and it would give this effect of just like you're pumping into the next clip. And that to me was so fucking cool because it was just like a seamless transition and you could do it with like any clip, and it pretty much just gave a lot of motion and a lot of like I guess like allure, or I don't know, it was just exciting. And what's funny is that like if you get into anime editing, if that's all you do, you have no skill. So for me to take that and then not really use any of the effects that they're doing, I don't know, I kind of feel like a really basic anime editor, but it's still I think it's one of the coolest things. And in this one, this is me like trying to learn how to figure out how to do it because I didn't understand at what frame to start and what one frame to end. So a lot of them look like really slow and they just don't look as clean. But this is the first edit where I like tried incorporating things I saw from them. So I'll watch the full thing and then yeah.
In my motion, coasting, in and out of range. Maintain, I switch up the timing. Keep surprising line by line. I continue with jabbing at that cylinder. To your pressure spot, I pinpoint the index finger. Inject and let the rhyme linger. I leave you when I'm in the ring. Welterweights in my division and still get back.
Instinct, you got to wreck. Instinct, you got to wreck. You got to wreck. Instinct, you got to wreck. Instinct, you got to wreck. Instinct, you got to wreck. They froze in a pose. Rock like metal. Plus we have on the pedal.
All right, so let's go back. This clip right here, to me, was really sick because at the time I remember learning about tilt shift lenses, and what tilt shift lenses do is just it gives you this effect of like being a lot bigger than what you're looking at. I guess I don't know if that's like what it really is, but I remember having my long lens on, being super far down the street and like zooming in all the way to this point and only focusing on like this right here, like this slump in the road. And I just remember looking at this van and just being like, holy shit, this is so sick. Like, and I just hit record. And this clip is so short that I threw in because I like sped it up and you can't really tell, but I remember like I rewatched this a lot just for that little like clip.
In my motion, coasting, in and out of range.
Like what? Look at that pump, dude. Here's the glitch effect again. Yeah, that.
I switch up
Another thing I started doing this month was masking stuff. So in this right here, let's see. Right here. So I masked around Greg's face, and I inverted the part that I masked. So that's why the flowers changed colors. And I remember doing the first frame and then playing it kind of through and realizing like, oh shit, I have to mask like every frame in order for this to look clean. And I totally didn't because I realized how much work that would be. So that's why right here you could kind of see on his shirt that it doesn't really like his shirt doesn't match up like in color that a little bit because I didn't look at his face right there. I didn't continue the masked path. I didn't like redo it at all. I was like, nah, no one will be able to tell. But there's like a baby. It's such a slow pump that it just doesn't look clean at all. It doesn't land on the beat either, so it just doesn't look good. But yeah, back to masking. So with this right here, I was like, all I have is this semi-triangle, or like what is this called? Can't remember the name. Rhombus? I don't know. But basically what I did is I masked this portion out and then I created a copy of it on my timeline, flipped it to the other side, and then from there I added effects. So this is where the line is cut, and this is where I added effects to go with the song. But yeah, masking and pumping were like the two big things that I started introducing this edit, and like at the end of it I was really stoked. And plus like the song I was really stoked to use, it's a Range Rover again by Jalen Tuna because it's just I don't know, it's such a fire track. And yeah, it's like there's a lot happening in the song, so there's a lot to edit to. That's why I try to stick to like more lo-fi tracks because there's a lot going on in the songs that you can kind of match to the beat or match to the song. That was a good pump right there. Like that was like one where I looked back and was like, okay, how did I do that? Because that looked clean. So, and with this right here, again, there's another pump and another mask. But I remember during this, I was just like, so this is what's going on in the frame. I got the shot of like the wooden panels. I masked out that area so it took it out, and I put that frame or that clip on top and this palm tree one on the bottom. Now when you mask out something, it allows you kind of see through it or take away it, so anything that's behind it on the timeline is seen. So when I threw this clip in there, I was like, oh shit, that actually looks really good. And it just so happened that on the song as well, it matched up so I could flip it over, which you could see here. I'll play this in slow motion. So speed. So that there's it going back to normal, and then it kind of reveals like what's going on. I flip it back, and then reintroduce this. So in that, I basically revealed what the actual frame looked like, showed the other frame with the palm tree, flipped it, used the same clip that that was initially there with the masked out portion, and then brought back in the frame. Because what's going on right here is only it's the masked out clip, but with the opacity set on 0, so you can't see it. So what's only shown is this palm tree, and then bringing back the opacity from 0 to 100%, which basically shows you what's happening on the clip. So that was, and then there's another pump. But yeah, that was kind of like when I did it. I remember showing it to Nick and Damon. I was just like, "Yo, tell me if this is fire," knowing in my head that it was fire. So it was just me trying to like, I guess, get some props for something cool that I did, which I realized later on isn't a good thing. You should never do something because you want people to think it's cool. You should only do something because you think it's cool. Never for the credit, because if you only do stuff for the credit and you don't get the credit, you're eventually going to stop doing it, and like that's not the reason why you should be doing stuff. You should enjoy like the process of doing something as it's happening. That's the only way you're going to enjoy it. Right here, I don't know why this happened. It was really weird. I remember masking out these two sides, which they're uneven by the way. And when I threw this clip on top of it, for some reason it changed this background's colors as well. So it just gave it like a really cool effect. And I remember seeing it and playing through it, and I was like, I'm not gonna touch it because I don't want it to not look like that.
When I'm in the ring, welterweights in my division and still get back.
This was another thing that I was just like, holy shit, I can't believe I just did that. But yeah, so it's kind of like the same idea as the one earlier where I like take a part of a frame and mask it out and throw something else behind it. So that's exactly what I did. I just masked out this portion of the houses really flat and like not moving, so it's easy to do it and follow it as well. And then I threw this clip behind it, and what's weird is it almost looks realistic, like it could actually be happening, but so not slowly, but I introduced that that's not how the clip should look right after, because if you see the palm tree, like you could just tell like that's how it's supposed to look. But I don't know, it just this frame right here is like it just looks like it might actually be that way. So that was really cool. In hindsight, I would change both of these to black and white on that pound of the song, but I can't, so that's all good. And then right here, I kind of got carried away with that effect. Like I'd say the first half it was used really well, and in the second half it was used really poorly, and only because like I was like, oh, I could keep doing this. It's gonna look really sick every time. And now with this, when you get introduced to this right here, as well as it not being feathered super well, you could kind of tell like, oh, like that's super fake. It's not obviously something like that doesn't go down, and it doesn't look that clean either. So I kind of got carried away with the effect, but what are you gonna do? And same thing right here, like the focus in the camera is this right here. So when I mask out the outside and throw something else behind it, it doesn't really add anything or doesn't really like do anything. It just kind of looks like out of place. So I like that. I like the ending. Let's see. What's this one? Oh, okay, yeah. All right. So in the description of this one, I pretty much I saw that there was audio effects in Premiere that I like wasn't utilizing or trying at all, and like two ones that I like used in this video are low pass and high pass, and what those are, excuse me, are pretty much like high pass cuts out all of like the low end of the song, so you're only hearing like I guess like hi-hats and like pretty much like the sharper tones in a song. And what low pass does is it cuts out all the high parts, so you're only hearing like a muddled kind of bass. And with that, what I did is like I got the track, I got the pieces that I wanted, and then I played around with it during the song, and it ended up creating like some moments where I was able to like use, I guess, those effects to add to what I was doing. And with that, I mean like if I had an effect there, then I could edit to that effect rather than just editing to the song. So with this, I pretty much started playing with audio a lot more. But this is another one of my like favorite edits. I think from 4 and onward, I like really enjoyed making these and the way they turned out just because I had like a way better understanding of what I was doing and how I wanted it to come out. So yeah.
Alright, you fucking dumb idiot. Addiction.
So let's see. This first part, I like again my attempt at doing motion graphics without After Effects experience. I like the way it came out. I really did, but
Alright, you fucking dumb idiot.
yeah, that's all I could say. I like the way it came out. It's just like I just know now that in order to do motion graphics and like animate text, you need to do it in After Effects, or else it just doesn't look as good. But yeah, this intro I really
Alright,
like.
you fucking dumb idiot.
All right, with this right here, I had an idea as to what I wanted to do, and it kind of implemented that same thing as last edit where I like mask out an area and then put an image behind it so you can kind of like it's like a way to like cut to the next clip but not introducing something completely random. So I remember masking out all of this and it took me like 30 minutes and I remember throwing in a clip behind it and being like, "Wow, this looks like shit. I just wasted so much time." So eventually I found a clip that looked really good and actually suited it. And with this also my pumps got a lot cleaner. So like at this point I understood the like what I call like the 3 frame rule where you start 3 frames before the clips ends and then you continue on 3 frames after the clip starts. So it just like it's 6 frames of just like the pump and that's it, rather than it being like 4 frames on one side and then 6 frames on another and it just like not looking as smooth. Um, so yeah, the pumps were a lot better in this edit. And this happened to work out really well because on this clip right here, I'm on a Ferris wheel, right? And in that moment it drops me down, so my camera's motion goes from me like right here to me down here without like me moving at all. So when I did the next transition, I just threw it upwards as the camera was going downwards, and then I like introduced this, and yeah, I thought that was pretty clean. And then once that happened, I was like, oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do like this again, referring back to the anime editors. I was gonna go to this anime transition where they go from down to right to left to right, and it just like it looks really clean because like the frame is swaying left and right without it ever really stopping. So I tried doing that with this, but it just didn't come out as clean. But yeah. This was really tight. It's actually really subtle. You can't really tell. But again, masked out an area and then put an image around behind it. But since that image is blurred as well as this being blurred, it kind of like it's almost like it almost looks like real. I don't know. Can't really tell. But what I also love is that on the thump of the song, you could see the opacity going past it as well. So it goes with like the mask also goes with the song rather than like not doing anything. So it pumps you, and that had to do a lot with me throwing an audio effect because that's using high pass and like scaling it all the way upwards and then bringing it back down to where it is. So like that was like a almost like a sine wave motion. So let's see. And this right here is such a bad masking job. Oh, like granted, I was learning how to mask, but like looking back, there's some like really poor masking jobs, and this is like totally one because what am I even like? What is that mask right there? It's just it just looks super bad. It just doesn't look clean. But yeah, what can you do? I really like this clip because this bird right here. That was insanely clean. I remember I just was like super proud of that. And I think I'm not gonna front at all. I was super lazy on this last part because I had this clip and I think like a few other bunk ones. And this is at the point where the song gets like pretty fucking gnarly, like gnarlier than it was before. So I literally didn't do anything, and then I just put you thought like as if the person thought I was gonna add it to it, which like me thinking at the time I was like, oh yeah, this would be super clever, like, I fucking got you. But no, dude, in reality, like I was just lazy and I threw that in there like on some fucking nerd shit. Let's see. Let's go to the next one. Videos. Sort by oldest. Alright. And then. Alright, so for this one, a little bit of context to this song. I really love Porter Robinson. I love everything that he's been. I love everything that he's produced. He's just like an all-around cool person, and for him to take a hiatus back in 2012 just to get away from like where Electro House was going and then go and produce his own style of music, his entirely own style of music was just like fucking amazing. So in 2014 he released Worlds and then he went on a tour for that. At the time I got tickets for it for my birthday and then I got kicked out of the house, but I still went to the concert and it was amazing. Like I don't regret going to that concert. And since then he collaborated with Madeon on a song called Shelter, and with that song they created a whole live show based around their songs, like basically mashed together. I got concerts for that 2 years later on my birthday, and it was just incredible, man. And like I had such a good time. The production was amazing. It made me realize that I needed to step up my shit exponentially if I wanted to like do anything significant or worth remembering. So he's like had like a really big impact on my life. And one of their live sets got leaked, and a friend sent it to me. And this is a song that's on there, and it just is so good. Like, and I remember hearing it, and this was like the first track that it was like electronic music that I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to edit to it. And I pretty much just like pumped to the whole song, and it ended up coming out really, really good. Yeah, just, yeah. Yeah, that song so good. The problem with it was though, is that I loved it before, and now since I edited to it, I don't like it as much, but it's still a banger. It's still really good. I would give context over these clips, but they kind of go by really fast. Maybe I'll watch it in half speed. Uh, I'm not gonna listen. The audio is gonna be fucked. Those two clips were when we were at Big Surreal. That's a rainbow. Yeah, this is just going way too fast. Pretty much all of these clips were from Big Surreal or a warehouse party that we had that. Yeah, a warehouse party that we had that month, or like me fucking around like the last day at Nick's house. I think this month, how much to say, still going strong. I think this is enough for anime pumps. That's pretty good. Yeah. Let's see. Ooh, holy shit. All right. This is another song by a guy named Anton J, and it pretty much like I took a lot of fucking time on this edit, and so much so that it like halfway through the month I finished the edit and realized I hadn't shot anything for the next month. But overall, it's just still like I did a lot more in this than I had in any other ones, and it ended up the end is kind of slacking a little bit, but still, I think overall this is like one of the I think this is like top three.
Rolling on the ceiling with my drop top down. My brother give some shit go down. Rolling on the block, double pump my top in the front, jump out with my gun, walk off in the club, in the
All right, so kind of a lot to go over. So let's see. This okay. This clip right here I remember messing with a lot because there's a flashing going on this side of the screen, and I remember trying to match it up to the beat of the song for a long time. And one effect that you see me do is like cropping the frame so it ends up being a square and then putting a drop shadow behind this frame. So it kind of gives it illusion of like another frame being on top of it. Um, but with the drop shadow, it gives it a little bit of depth, so it doesn't look like I don't know. It's just it gives it like a cooler effect. Now, what happened with this first clip was so funny because you could see it having motion in there. What I tried doing was creating two and three, like I think three of those same squares and putting them all around so that could go with the song instead. But when I threw them on there, I think I had still some like scaling on it, so it ended up creating this like it it made it go better with the song than I could have ever made it go. So that really worked out, but it was also an accident. I can't take full credit for it. With this sunglass, I was really stoked with because I used warp stabilization on this clip because my hands are really shaky when I'm not using a tripod. And when I masked this part of the sunglasses out, so and then put black and white around the rest, it followed the mask really well, like even without the motion. or even with the motion being there. So that ended up being really cool. Like you can tell right here, and it ended up just like being really like sick. And same thing with the background, even though there's noise, like the noise that I put on there, you can see that it still has that. But yeah, this square I tracked to the sound, or what I thought was the sound, and I actually really liked from the beginning till like right here, because back to referencing anime, one thing that I really liked about it has how there was always constant motion, and there was never really a point where it was sitting still, I guess, or laying flat. So it looked like it was like kind of all flowy and like, and not wish-washy, but it just had a really nice flow. And the good edits like flowed really well and just went really well with the song. It almost just looked like they were supposed to be together. And up until like right there, I really enjoyed looking back because there was so much motion. It was just like it followed the song really well. And right here is just, it doesn't get bad, but it's like it just all kind of stops. Like it's just like an abrupt kind of just like that's it. So it's a cool intro, but this part like I could have done something to make it continue on, but all right, that's just I don't know. I think that's so fucking cool. I I remember looking at this and like, oh, that kind of looks like the Adidas logo. And then when I went to back to editing, I was like, ooh, I'm gonna do something fucking sick with this. So in order to do that, I pretty much masked out each one and then assigned a color to it. And then on the next frame of the, I just went to the next one and down the line. It ended up looking really, really sick. Now this is kind of it's kind of confusing as to what's going on. I'll try to explain it. So here's the frame, right? And what I tried doing in my edits is like I never try to add two effects at the same like onto the next cut or next clip, because it's easy to lose like what's going on. It's easy to like not follow what's going on when too much happens from one cut to the next. So on this one, here I'll play it slow actually. So on this one, so it flips horizontally, flips upside down, flips back to where it should be, and then from this point on the two kind of like, I think there are two like thumps or kicks in the song. What I do is I throw on an effect called, I think it's called pattern or grid or something like that. And what that does, or it's duplicate, it duplicates the image twice over. So there's two of them now, right? Now, when I did that, I masked out the two sides, like right there, and only kept these two. So these remained inverted from where they were. Now this kind of like creates like a cool looking, I don't know, it just looks really tight. This is Nick and JP hopping over a fence, by the way. And if you continue playing it, now it scales back down to only two, so it duplicates it twice, but it's still cut down the middle, so they're like scaling up towards each other. Then what I did here is I rotated it over, so I had one frame on another I had basically on the timeline, I had the frame that was here, and I had another one right here. So when this one moved over, I allowed this one to come in. So it gave it like a kind of like sliding effect. But what's funny about that happening is that like all of it goes down within half of a second. So you can't really tell what is happening. It just, yeah, but it looks good, and maybe people might not look back and notice that, but it's something that like I don't know, I took a lot of time on, and that's pretty much, I guess, why it took me 15 days is because with this, I wanted to make sure it looked like fucking cool the whole way through, and like, yeah, this is definitely one of the ones where I tried like my absolute hardest. And with this right here, I don't know if you could tell, but the frames down here are different from the frames up here. Now, the motion or what's going to the bass line of the song is actually Nick's movement as well. So this is stagnant. This is like how the clip is supposed to be played, but this is fast forwarded and reversed going to the beat of the song. This right here, I don't know why I had such a hard time making this, because this right here sounds super simple, right? I got one half of one frame and I got one half of another, right? I played one in forward, like fast forwarded one and reversed the same one. Sounds simple, right? For some reason, it took me such a long time to do this, and I don't know why. Like, I had to create like 3 or 4 different nests of clips in order to do it, and it was just like, I think it was that fucking flip, but yeah. Oh my gosh, okay. This fucking clip. I knew that when this part played of the song, I was gonna use this clip, but my initial like expectation was to, if there wasn't an inversion on this right now, you would see that it's pretty much a fence line with these shadows going through it, because on the top it's like this, it's pretty much just like this awning of like boards, and that's the shadow that's getting created. And my original plan was I was masking out the shadows. Each individual line, I masked out the entire thing so I could do the same effect of it kind of like changing colors, but it looked like absolute shit. And I remember I like took like 45 minutes doing that, masking out the entire thing, and then like it being bad, and like I just was like, damn, like should I even keep this in? This looks fucking terrible. And eventually it just got to the point where I was like, all right, so I masked that much. All I'm gonna do is mask the motion of his hand moving so it could at least look semi good. And it ended up looking way better than what I thought in my head, but I still had to put that extra effort in masking his arm movement. Even though that looks like such a small little like piece of like, it's just such a short period of time, but it takes so long, man, because you have to like change your little like keyframes over just a tiny little bit, just and then move to the next frame and then adjust them again. And it's just, it takes a lot of time. So if you want it to look clean, like you just have to put in that effort. Shout out Mia Levy, good friend since high school. This right here is so funny because like my idea behind this was like, okay, I'm gonna mask. Oh shit. Let's go. Hey, what up, John? Thank you for following the channel. I appreciate that. You're the first person that I've had follow with that follow notification, so I appreciate it. Thank you. And you have your own emo? Is that you? That's tight. So with this right here, I pretty much like I masked out. You could see the line where I masked this little kitten out, and I pretty much just tried to I tried to add colors behind it and move the colors so it looked like the colors were behind it. And if you look at this frame, it looks really bad because you could totally tell what my plan was right here. And I don't agree like it looks good at all because it's a super bad masking job and it's poor, but I went for it, and I don't know, it's just total learning experience. At this point, I still think I'm pretty bad at masking, but right here I was like still really bad at it. This is so funny, dude. I didn't want, at this point in the song, I was like fucking over it. I was just like, man, I just want this to be done. I have 30 more seconds. That's forever. And with this, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna flip it horizontally, add on top of each other, like set 1 to 50% so it looks like it just kind of creates this like it kind of creates that effect right there. And then I'm gonna add an invert effect to the sky and then match that to the beat of the song. But the sky is so overexposed that you can't even tell, except for this parts right here, that I'm even doing anything. So it's just lazy. Shout out Walter Warm on that last clip. That guy is fucking super sick. He's a slow native, lives in LA now, really good beat maker, and I was graced with the opportunity to meet him at why am I forgetting the name of that store? I'm not sure. It's pretty much a streetwear clothing store that where Passport is now back in 2014, and he was playing at an art show there, and he was making beats live on the spot with records, and I just remember like asking him over and over like what's your SoundCloud? I need to look you up. And then here we are 3 years later. I've had him play at my art show. He's played at a few friends' events, and he's just like overall a super good producer. And I'm happy to know that he's from Slow. That's really tight. And through him, I also met Beatbox Bandit. That guy's also really cool. Shout out to those guys. So let's see. All right, atomic number of oxygen. I'm pretty sure this is 8. Oh yeah. So with this one, this song on SoundCloud has like fucking like 70 plays. I don't know how it has only 70 plays because it's fucking fire. And a lot of the times when I like use the songs, it's like, okay, is this good to edit to? Is it have a lot of stuff going on it that I can edit to as well? And with this one, it just was like it was just so perfect. It kind of gave it like a eerie vibe, kind of like I don't know. I loved. I still love this track. It's really good.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Uh. All right. So what I really liked about this edit was that like some of the transitions that I used were like masking another part or masking a part of a frame and then throwing a clip behind that and then using that as the next one, but almost in a way where it just looked kind of seamless. So with this part right here on the beat, I change it to white, I mask it, I change it to white, throw in the next clip, change the other part to white, and then introduce the clip. Now, this right here is already inverted. And by that I mean that this cat is normally over here and this is over here. So this is the original clip. This is how I got it. Now what I did right there is I used the same original mask, it being flipped, and I threw it on the other side. Now, on this next part is where it got a little confusing even for me, is I used the original clip, I took out that mask, I inverted the clip, horizontally flipped it on the other side, and I did the same thing right here, and then flipped that over. So I pretty much nested these two clips together, cut it, and then flipped it over, and then when I threw an invert effect on it, invert being changing the colors from negative or from positive to negative, I used the circle, and that circle kind of created like a heart, and I really liked that. I thought it looked kind of cool. But it of course, the song kind of being eerie, it looks fucking scary. So I mean, I rocked with it, and it was like definitely one of the things that I was just like, holy shit, I just created that from like just a fucking cat clip. Like, I just, to me, I thought that was fucking really cool. Especially that right there, like that just looks like a fucking scary face. Like, these are lights that are out of focus, and me throwing the invert effect on them. So, and then also cutting to different parts of when the lights are moving or where they're moving. Yeah. Terrible masking job. Look at this fucking shit. This part right here I really like because this right here, and it's something that's like so short you don't really notice it, but it's pretty much like the tree in the original clip with the invert effect on it, horizontally flipped, and then both at 50% opacity. So it looks like, I don't know, it just created an image. It almost looks like a hashtag when I look at it, but it looks really cool, especially with the colors. It looks really tight. In like on my computer, not on YouTube, because on YouTube they kind of like destroy your quality. You could see scratches. You could kind of tell right here of where like the tree is, other parts of the tree. But since these are matched together, those are like blown out. Yeah. Right there is like, that was like the first time I ever used the 3D effect on Premiere, and it ended up working really well because like I just learned that you could just fucking twist and turn and rotate as much as you want, and it ended up looking really tight. That always will remind me of Xavier Wolf's Hollow Squad logo, like this right here. But again, this is masking out the flowers. A lot of the time, it's usually using like one or two effects and then kind of like stacking stuff on top of each other. So with this, I like masked out the flowers, and then I layered the clips on top of each other, and then horizontally and vertically flipped progressively. So I added a horizontal flip, and then I added a vertical flip, and then I added a horizontal and a vertical flip, and then set them all to 50% opacity so you could see all of them together. And that resulted in a clip like this where I could change the invert frame to frame on each one, so it kind of gives it like a it just gives it like the wompy kind of look. With this clip right here, I wish I would have started the 3D a little bit sooner, because then it would have like not disrupted the flow. Because like it's like I could have done the 3D at the same time of moving the lights as well. As soon as like the wah starts, I should have done the 3D, but instead I focused more on moving the motion of these, which again, it's just like flipping them horizontally, flipping them vertically, setting the opacity to 50%. But it's like, as long as you kind of like just play with it and not make it look the same, it looks good.
Okay.
Alright, so for this next one, this is 9. This is when I went to London, and this was, okay. This one right here, I don't have a lot to say. This is pretty much just like a video of our trip going to London, except I tried making it flow really well. I used a very simple song. I just like want it to look really good. I might go over like a few parts of the clips, but overall this is just like a video of our trip to London and the clips that I got from it. So But yeah, overall, I'm like really happy with the way that turned out. Again, it wasn't like I never really. It goes back to like saying I never really want like flat shots anymore. Like, yeah, I want the subject in focus to like be paid attention to, but I also want like subtle motion in there so it doesn't really look like, I don't know, just really flat and boring. I'm not really into that right now, I guess. Some things to go over in this. Hmm, not really. There's nothing really. This I don't know if, I mean, you probably noticed it now, but I hate ironing. I haven't noticed that. But this is actually the clip going in reverse. I don't know if you guys picked up on that. But what I like is how let's see. You see these cars come around and then they just disappear. So that's what I really enjoy about that. This bird, oh my gosh, we were walking and we just saw this bird chilling. So I decided to start recording it and it literally stayed still and I got fucking super close to it. So that was really tight. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this right here. It's a good trip overall. London's super tight. I would definitely recommend anyone going there. Let's see, month X. Uh, oh yeah, so not gonna lie, November was a month of slack and I didn't film at all except for my cousin's wedding. And I really think that was about it. I went to Chicago at the end of the month and I was banking on filming a lot there, but I didn't take out my camera since I was unsure if it was safe. Might have been a pussy move or smart. Either way, I took a bunch of pictures while visiting a friend in south of Chicago. Shout out Mia Levy. I started out this edit, but initially was really hard on myself for not having too many clips. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. All right, so this is like this month was kind of a turning point because by not shooting, I realized like, oh shit, I'm unmotivated right now, and that like that didn't motivate me anymore the next month to go out shooting. And during the next month, I was like, I think I tried shooting like the beginning, or like I just kept putting pressure on myself for this month edit not being so good that like I was putting so much pressure and expectation on like what I was creating rather than just like enjoying the process of creating it. So this month and next month were definitely a learning point in my life because like I realized that when I do creative things, it should be because I enjoy creating stuff, not because I enjoy the final product. And by not putting stress or emphasis on it being good, then I'm just allowed to do whatever. So if it turns out good, then that's cool, and if it doesn't, then that's cool too. So this was definitely like uh this month and or I should say October and November were big turning points in the way I saw this because I knew I had the skill, um I knew I had the equipment, but I just was being so hard on myself for not producing something good. But you really shouldn't ever. Alright, let's see. So this right here is actually like pretty fucking not intricate, but it was like it was an effect that I had seen someone use and it was like, okay, how did they do that? And I ended up doing it by accident. So what's going on here, the original clip is never revealed. Or I don't think, at least. Let's see. Yeah, it's not. Alright, so what's going on here is this is like a tower that's at the University of Illinois. And I got a time lapse there, and what I did is I threw the time lapse on the timeline. I set it to like 8 seconds so the time lapse would go by really fast. I I think I didn't mask it. I flipped it horizontally and then angled it in a way so it created this right here. Now, when the time lapse rolls at the same time, it gives it like a oh, okay, yeah, that's totally what I did, because you could see like the direction going from, let's see, you can see the direction going from here to there and then going back to its initial point. So when it goes back to its initial point and they cross like this, and let's see, when it goes back to its initial point, I kind of fade it out, and then on the beat of the track, I throw this tint over it, a black and white tint over it, and it still keeps some of the blues. And after seeing this happen, this right here, I was like, oh shit. So what I did is I nested those two clips together, both the time lapses and the effect as well. And then I horizontally flipped it by masking it. I masked it, horizontally flipped the other side, so now that there's two. And then I threw an invert effect on that, and it just like created this fucking like wish wash effect of. It just looked really sick. This was my first attempt at like masking to the beat of a song, and it ended up looking really cool. And yeah, I just enjoyed the way it looked. And plus, like, this song is kind of hard to edit to, so I just picked like the points where I could like make something happen with that. With that, I used the hi-hats of this song. This right here, I wish I would have like moved this shot right here behind a little bit more, because it just looks like here's this clip in the foreground and it's like kind of moving a little bit, and then there's this shot in the background that's like super flat, so it doesn't really look that real. Like, I know this is like a very it's like compositive obviously, but it just doesn't give it an effect. It just completely ruins the illusion by this being so flat and this having some motion to it. This fucking kid. This is me not having any more clips left over, so I'm just extending something as long as I can. Kind of a weaker edit in my opinion, but yeah. All right, so this one I actually had a really fun time making. So back to not having motivation for shooting. November rolls around, and like 15 days in, I'm like, damn, I haven't shot anything. I really need to go shoot something. And then it just every day I just would come home and I would be super bummed. One, because I hadn't shot anything. Two, because my computer had broken, and just like not having motivation. Like, and then so eventually the 31st rolls around, and I'm like, holy shit, I don't have anything to edit for this monthly edit. And so I hit up Nick and I go, and literally everything I got in this video is from one day of shooting. But I only had like 10 clips, and I was thinking I would get to like 30 seconds, but somehow I made a full edit out of it, and it ended up being really, really good. So I'm stoked that I was able to complete something and realize that I didn't need to be so hard on myself. But yeah, really happy with this edit. And pretty much I just let the song run because I ran out of clips, but the song's hella sick, so I didn't want to just end. Um, let's see. This video follows the notion of I never really want stuff to be staying still, and you can see that with this first clip because initially this is just a clip of a fucking car mirror, right, with the reflection of the sunset. And pretty much what I did is I scaled inward and I set it the keyframe at like 120 or something like that, and then a couple like at where the clip ends is I set it back at 100 where the clip originally is, and it kind of just gave it like the slow pullback. This clip right here is something that like, so sometimes when I'm driving, I'll see a reflection as I'm driving by. It's like when I'm turning or when I'm like passing by, and like I always think to myself like, man, I wish I had my camera and I wish I could keep a steady shot on something like that because I could compile like a whole video of just clips that I see when I'm driving by. And I was telling Nick that in this moment, and this clip originally goes from this direction to that direction. I started out opposite because like that's just the way I edited to the song. But I remember talking to him about it before and then seeing this and just being like, fuck it, like I just need to do it. And that's exactly the attitude that I need to have when it comes to anything remotely creative or like an idea that I have is just fucking executing it right away. So, because it could result in something like this. Like this is a really cool clip in my opinion. This right here was really tight. Again, it's like the same, like I'm slowly moving in, same with the beat of the song, going with the beat of the song. But my hands are really shaky. I've said that before. And one thing that really helps with that is there's this effect in Premiere called warp stabilization. And that actually gave this clip a really cool effect because when I start it, I'm out of focus and I'm not really like that. I haven't got the shot that I want it yet. But since I put the warp stabilizer on it, it makes it almost look cinematic in a way that when I'm focusing on it, it just goes with the song really well. And this right here, okay, this is like back to the same uh, concept of me just filming something when I'm driving by. I'm in the passenger seat right now, and I'm trying to get like the reflection of not just the reflection of the trees, but also the inside of how the lights are moving, like kind of like scaling downwards. And when I put the warp stabilizer on this clip, what it does sometimes is it like scales the clip by zooming it inward, so it gets to a point where there's not a lot of motion, and it zoomed in on it a lot, almost to the point where I was like, oh, I'm probably not going to use this clip. But then like it just gave it a certain look that I was like, oh, I bet if I if I just put a white background, throw a drop shadow on it, it will give it like a really cool look. So I did, and it ended up giving like a dope, super dope look. Really, yeah, that's like super sick in my opinion. Yeah, super happy with that. I'm also okay. I don't know how many of you guys have seen this one. Um, this is something that how should I preface this? So December rolls around, and I'm never happy with waking up at 10 or 11 or 12 because like I realize I'm like wasting so much time in the day. And so I started going to bed earlier. I started waking up at like 6:50, getting out of bed by like 7:30 and eating breakfast and being on the computer by 8. Usually I have work at 11, so that gives me like 3 hours of editing time or to do anything in the morning. And pretty much what I started doing with this edit is just like realizing that I have so much more time that I'm going to put all my effort and all my energy into this edit. Now, this song is part of like a not like a time lapse. It's just it's pretty much part of an album of just like ambient sounds. And I remember I wanted to use it for like a video on my cat and it just didn't work at all. But I'm glad I got to use this song and I don't know if any of you guys have seen this video yet, but it's definitely like my favorite. And I've watched it over 25 times already and I put it out like 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. And it's like it's so good and I'm really proud of this. So to see where I'm at from the first month till now is just amazing. When it comes to the masking, when it comes to the flow, when it comes to like my clip selection, it's just I'm really happy with this. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's like I don't really have much to say about those clips. That's 12 months of edits, me just going out, getting clips, um, pretty much just creating overall. I hope that this next year is just like even more improvement. Now that I have like a really solid computer, I'm gonna dive more into After Effects and hopefully use that a lot more in edits. It's kind of intimidating right now, but we'll see. If you stuck around, I'm happy you did. Thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna be streaming my editing a lot. I'm gonna be streaming gaming a lot. So yeah, just I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you supporting me, and I appreciate yeah, just you being here. I thank you.